She's still going, mate. That's not the date. Mate, we're talking about iPads. This is my iPad 4 from back in the day. I bought this brand new, and this is actually my original case again because the second case I got is now worse than this case. And now this one looks better again. So that's how long they've been using that port for. It's been fun watching the iPad flourish into what it is. I mean, when it first came out, everyone just joked, oh, it's just 4 iPhones stitched together. And for a long time, that kind of was what it was. It was like a slightly faster iPhone that also had less tech inside of it at the same time. Like, they never had good cameras. And controversial as well for people because, you know, iPads are mandated in a lot of schools. And it's funny because I used to work in schools as a music teacher, the drums, mate. And I was there as schools just transitioned to iPads for the first time. And it's interesting because I went from students never bringing their homework, never knowing what the homework was, and just being like, oh, I don't know, I forgot, to never forgetting homework, always having their assignments and always having everything because they never left their iPad at home. And then seeing good parents monitoring the iPads properly, you know, having like the passcode set up so you couldn't just install apps, although in 2020 kids found a way around it that they only just patched out. And for the most part, like, this is all a computer needs to be. I mean, honestly, the phone is now the everyday computer for people. Sitting around at home and I just want like general information or some quick shopping or whatnot, I'm never grabbing the laptop. It's called your toxic phone. But that's a regular iPad. We're not talking about the regular iPad, we're talking about the iPad Pro. Currently, in my opinion, the most useless, overpriced piece of tech that you can get, except maybe the Apple Vision. Now, ironically enough, as I say that, my whole content creation journey started with a 2015 iPad Pro, the first iPad Pro. And that was honestly, in my opinion, the best jump the iPad ever had, purely because big screen. I worked as a musician doing gigs and touring and all that sort of stuff. Finally, it was worth reading off of. It was like an A4 piece of paper. But then every now and then we'd be reminded that you sometimes just can't beat the reliability of a piece of paper. GarageBand and iMovie, that built this entire empire and they're the best free apps ever made. And recently, the newest iPad Pros come out and I'm here to tell you, don't buy it. Hey, and I'm doing as I say because here's my iPad Pro. No! It is not the newest one. What is this, last year's one? This has got an M2 in it. Like, they've jumped to M4 now because, I don't know, Apple doesn't know what they're doing. And I've had iPad Pros since 2015. I may not get the newest one every year, but I've stayed reasonably up to date. Look, I even got the keyboard case, the original one. Look at the use this baby's got. This is years old. And it's been kind of terrible because all the weight is in the front, so it just wants to topple over constantly, and you can't use it on your lap. Because again, all the weight is in the screen, which I think is the big deal with the newest one of these having a really thin body to it, so it kind of stops doing that. Oh, and really fun for the first several years, the volume was all messed up. They fixed it now, but for a long time, it was backwards. And I still use my iPad Pro to this day. This records all my DangPods audio. All the time. I mean, currently, there's some other machine taking over, so I can, have this in frame. But yeah, using GarageBand with a USB desk, GarageBand's awesome, it's simple, it does exactly what I need to do, and I like that I've got a backup of my audio on another device. And I've tried to actually adopt this for some real editing, some actual kind of work, because that's how Apple keeps selling the stupid iPad Pro, and I'm here to report it is borderline useless. Oh, what? Is there not enough power in here? Is it because it's so thin and there's no fan or something? No. These are monsters. These have heaps of power. These have the same processors in them as the desktops do. And the newest iPad Pro is the only one that has the M4 in it. So if you want an Apple thing with the latest architecture, it's called an iPad Pro. So wait, it's thin, powerful, beautiful screen, all the bits and bobs you can want. So what's wrong with it? How can I say that it's literally useless? iPadOS. iPadOS is the Apple version of Windows Vista, stinking Windows 8, Windows 11. iPadOS made sense in the early days when it was just an embiggened version of an iPhone, but currently it's the biggest barrier to actually getting stuff done. Let me give you a very small example. So I have a whole gaggle of different channels that I do, and they all have different things they require for filming and stuff. Let me give you an example how I want to use an iPad for garbage time. We're amongst my dumpy car channel. This isn't a video yet. My car channel is just a dumpy car channel. I love dumpy dumb slow cars. They're so much fun, but I love getting the data on them, the fuel economy, cruisability, then the 0 to 60 kilometer-hour launch times, and the G-forces. How could the slowest car
almost have the most G-forces. Tony, you're a nugget.
So something I'd love is to be able to capture the dashboards of all these hilariously cheap, silly cars, because they've all got a vibe. And look, a lot of car channels will put a GoPro there. I don't use GoPros anymore because I've lost more footage of GoPros than I ever gained, and that is not hyperbole. And a lot of the competition is just like, stupid clones. What I'd like to do is take like a webcam and like stick it like this, and then just capture the footage out of that. That's all I need, right? Strapping a phone here would be a nightmare, and there's legalities of having a phone like sitting in front of you like that. But what if like webcam down to like an iPad in the glove box or something, or this handy head bucket area, because when you have an accident, it'll catch your head matter, and so you can clean it out easier. That would actually be handy if the iPad was just this portable slate that could just capture footage off of whatever I plug into it.
So, look, we are in Final Cut. See, that's the problem with tablets, is that they get covered in schmutz. So, webcam, chunk, expensive lightning cable, double chunk. To import video, okay, or no, camera. Okay, no, that's the, oh my goodness! You can see my Borg-tastic setup and my unkept hair. So let's just say I kerfuddle with this for a little while. I tried Google searching the problem, which is impossible now. Like, Google is dead. Like, it's just sponsored spots and just absolute spam. You want to find information on the internet now? It's impossible. So I actually called Apple. It was a Sunday as well, and I gave them a ring to ask, what can this thing do? And admittedly, I actually got passed around for like 20-something minutes. It was really annoying. But I got a really lovely person who did all the research when we went through. Like, and they reported back to me that you can't plug webcams into these at all. No. Ironically, it'll pick up the microphone in this, not the video. You could wirelessly sync up a whole gaggle of iPhones that have them as separate cameras, all recording at once, and you could be a producer and just doink between them. But standard webcam. Let me show you how effed up this really is.
Oh, wow. Proof you don't want to meet your heroes. Here's the DankPod desk. Notice there's just this clearing where I film, and then there's just border wall of just e-waste. That's where the ePC lives. There's the iPad Pro doing its iPad Pro thing that it does best, which is just be hooked up to a desk and just take orders. But this is a 2007 iMac. Dual core, baby, that's all you need. Now let me show you how important software is over hardware, right? This computer is so slow that Geekbench don't mention it. Like, you scroll right to the bottom, it ain't there, mate. What is this? A Lumina camera. I mean, I'll talk about this in my next Tech That Let Me Down special. Look forward to that. But anyway, it's a 4K whatever camera, USB-C, right? This thing predates USB 3. And look, here it is, running Logic Pro, right? This ancient beast, yeah? Casually in the background. Oh, what's this? It's something I prepared earlier. It's happily reading off of this. Right? This ancient nugget that is so slow it doesn't even appear in like benchmarking scores, happily reading off of this while running Logic Pro. And even better than that, it's even playing 1080p Mighty Car mods, all at the same time. I mean, this screen's like 40 pixels short of 1080, but it still counts. Look how good that looks. This is a 17-year-old computer, and like, this is all at the same time. I simultaneously want to scream with laughter, that I do just want to scream with absolute angst. Because, like, this $100 out-of-date pile of rubbish is outsmacking a $2,000 Apple slate of rubbish. And this is even an Apple thing! 17 years old! Why even go on the USB-C from USB 2.0? It still finds a way to work. So, like, it doesn't matter how much horsepower you got. Oh, we got the latest chips and all the latest AI. Everything's AI. Bork your music with AI. It's about software, right? Actual, real software that you can actually do stuff with. I still unironically use this, like Notes and iCloud work fine. Totally fine. Anytime I got dot points that I got to read off of for a video, I'm reading it off of this. I'll update it on my phone and it'll boink here immediately. Every nugget dip you've seen me do, like playing with a computer, it's this computer capturing its own screen. If this isn't a sign that consumer tech is peaking, I don't know what is.
And there you go. Less useful than a 2007 iMac. The OS is everything. It doesn't matter how much power you give it. Incredible cosmic power. Big corporate restrictions. A $2 $2,000 iPad with like $50 a year software. Yeah, not even buy it outright like it's meant to be. And it's the most balked, useless experience there is. And take it from someone who's worked out of iPad Pro since they first came out. Yeah, for the poor sods using Adobe, and I beg is to escape, and it's hard to escape. Took me 2 years to escape, right? They give it away to students while they're learning, and then once you've learned Adobe, you can't unlearn it. But like the Photoshop app, which is, you can use the pen on these amazing screens. There's no pen tool in iPad version of Photoshop, which is like such an important tool. All the software for this miserable slate is all balked. It's like intentionally designed to suck. No headphone jack. And that's why the new iPad is completely useless and it's just an absolute balk factory. Unless you're a digital artist, I understand it. Like the screens that they put on these, the technology inside of the pencil and all that. If you're a digital artist, that's different. The expense of this is akin to an instrument. But if you're looking for a powerful computer, consider a 2007 iMac. You can get more done with it. And you're never going to buy these for the cameras. The cameras on iPads have always stunk. They're like 5 years behind what they put in the iPhones. This is so carefully nerfed to fit in their crappy product strategy. All their devices now run the same processors, right? They're all on the ARM architecture. Macs can run iPad apps now. iPad OS needs to go away. It just needs to be Apple OS, right? And you have the touch version and the desktop version. And the way I can see it working is that iPhones only go to the desktop version when it's plugged into a monitor. iPads can be like both. You can opt for touch interface or the desktop interface, and then the laptops and the desktops should be desktop only. I'd love to live out of my phone where I plug it into a display, keyboard and mouse, and I can just manage files, manage folders. There's a files app in this, but it's miserable. Anything to do with an iPad is miserable. So until they ditch iPad OS, and unless you're like a graphic designer and you want to stay right up to date with all that sort of stuff, don't get this. Literally, the day that they ditch iPad OS, that's when it's worth getting one of these. Linus's review of the new iPad Pro, I compared it against a 2018 one for YouTubing and regular stuff. It's no faster. All this performance is going nowhere. And so that's how I can do a review on new iPad Pro without having the new iPad Pro, because in my entire existence of using them, I've never been able to do super top-end work on it. Honestly, the most use this guy gets is recording audio and then being a sidecar display for dragging assets out of. Maybe their brand new case is the most amazing thing you've ever used. But get a used MacBook Air if you want to type all day. And what really drives home the sorry state of iPad OS is last night, and I mean this, just last night, they finally completely revolutionized the iPad experience. They gave it a calculator. Yep, you heard me. This whole time! So if you got FOMO about your old computer and you're worried that you're not keeping up with the rest of the world, well, just remember, a 17-year-old computer that doesn't even get onto benchmarking scores due to being so slow is still working as a perfectly cromulent everyday machine. Smell you never, iPad. Well, that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Shoot, thanks to me floaties, mate. Oi, that's where me vlog is. And that's where Frank is. And, I'll see you all next time.
Cool, Frank got a rat in there, and the poo from another rat as well. There are 2 rats in transit through Frank right now. She just likes to hold on to it. Hey, Frankie. So she's gentle. What a good dog. That dog, I want to pat that dog.